Heroes and Legends War of Bitter Rivals Episode 14 Final Fight of Androsica. The time had come to finally end the war. As the death of Emperor Darius spread across the dimensions, before it got to the universe, the Builderon acted quickly. Along with Hikari's motto, with Thomas, Beffa, Laura's new ally and officer Huffy, John Con, the leader of the ornaments, is love interest and daughter of Master Rev, Rasha Rada, Anna Adriani of the Celton, Francine Abaco of the Silver of the Silver Forces of the Batelicon, Jaretta, who is the Albina officer. Despite the Albina being defeated and slain, she survived and still remained loyal to the Builderon. Hikari praised Janetta's loyalty and determination and welcomed her in this foul fight. General Bryce of the Cabelon, Anfi, the one and the only Penta officer that was uninjured during Damien's attack, and Tobias, the Batelicon fleet commander. With these forces, they marched up north from the south to attack the area of Androsican Castle. There, they encountered the full stock of the Androsican forces. Deep inside the castle was heavily guarded by both Alani and Darling the Fleur and Shane as well. The castle was filled with mostly main Androsican forces and also Receive forces. All the remaining elite officers of the Empire stood ready on guard. The Wilson family were on the inside, as it was clear that they were the commanders. The Federation of the Flower also run around in the battlefield as well, along with Solus and his planes, Marshy and her twin brother Marvin, Horatio, Tika and Fash as well, and Duval, who was determined to avenge his fallen comrades and defend Androsica to the last. Hikari knew that they already won, but as long as these individuals stood and not being defeated, this war would never end. So Hikari chose Thomas, Bertha, and Laura to lead the front lines, to deal a crippling blow to finish Androsica off for good. While the battle was moving on smoothly, and the forces of Builderon, that of John Conn and Bryce, who are now newly formed primes, were rushing to the battlefield, defeating all they could see. Only Hikari, who was also not born prime, still had some prime power, but not as strong as she once was. For everyone else, they had just lost their prime powers and were still in recovery mode, but still, they had to fight to either attack or defend. These being Shane, Elena, Darling, Thomas, Laura, and Beffa. While the battle was going on, and no side was given an inch, Hikari sensed something troubling in the air. But something had happened, something in which the power of our late beloved was responsible for. But for a time, she did not know what it was, so she told her armies to be on alert. While they were fighting, each person was giving their all. The Androsican forces were being pushed back, but the officers were still fighting hard, refusing to back down or to retreat, for this was indeed Androsica's last fight. Suddenly, ghosts from the past had returned, that being Sansama, the former Grand General, Royuki, the Kandine General, Ipi Trey, the leader of the Subpoena, and his wife, Viv, Daria, his Ipi Trey's advisor, Pascal, the Grand General of the Subpoena, and Ped, who was once who was once thought dead. Laura stunned. How these dead officers came about. Huffy saw his friend Pet again. I couldn't believe it. Pet, you're alive. But how? And then Hikari could feel even more presence of people being alive. This was the hidden power of Darius. He sacrificed his life in order to rescue those that needed to be rescued, those that wanted to live and not die and not choose death, were spared just seconds away from their death. She could sense even more people were saved, but they were not on this battlefield. With the arrival of the reinforcements, Bray and Ella Wilson ordered the full might of Androsica to charge the Builder. But this was indeed a sign from heaven of their victory was assured. Hikari, being very irked and annoyed at this point, was pissed off because the Wilsons did not understand why Darius would bring them back. He did not bring them back for the glory of Androsica. He brought them back so the universe could have everlasting peace. So these people and their respective galaxies could live in peace at long last. Darius had officially passed on the torch to Hikari, and it's up to Hikari herself to charge and defeat every single last Androsican officer and end this for herself. So she got her two blades and rushed from the south to the north to attack every officer she saw to beat them back one by one. She used her lightning abilities to strike down the Canadian and also Paula, who was vengeful and looking for revenge. She tried to kill Hikari, but Hikari was too strong for Paula, and she was forced to retreat. I saw it was Royuki, and then she went to the Sapina forces that was surrounding Laura as they wanted revenge. Hikari defeated EP3, Pasca, Viv, and Dario, and Ped with ease. After that, she went to the four friends of Sonoma, Solus, Vash, and Dinko, who were now reunited. So she went to face them. With her mighty abilities and quickness, she overcame the powerhouses of Sansalma and Solus. And after that, she moved towards defeating Dr. Anne and Duval that were working together. After they were captured, she then moved on to Richo, Marcy, and Marvin, and they tried to hold her back, but she was too strong for them, and so she defeated them easily. Next, she went after the forces of the Federation of the Flower, being that of Andy Flower and Zazzle Flower. She defeated the two cousins, and then she had to face the last three, being Sheen and Alani and Dolly. She went after them. They tried hard to fight and to resist her. For a time, she was being pushed back, but she used her inner strength, her inner will, and her prime powers to overcome these three. I was able to knock them out finally. And then she was able to move inside the castle and deal harshly with the Wilson family. Bray and Ella Wilson were soundly defeated, despite Bray's efforts of his tsunami-controlled powers and Ella Wilson's craftiness. The Wilson family has surrendered to the Builder, and with that, Androsica was finished. It was Hikari who single-handedly ended the war that she had started. Now that Androsica was finished, it made no sense killing them all, but instead, she helped everyone to realize why Darius brought everyone back, so everyone could live in peace with one another. And then it was up to Hikari to lead the universe to a new and prosperous age. And with that, Shane, Alani, and Darling, the three main leaders, surrendered, and the former friends, Builder and Androsica, rekindled their friendship once more. And everyone began to laugh and reminisce. And Shane made a shocking announcement that he would also surrender to the Builder, much to Alani's shock. But Shane made a promise If Androsica would lose, he would join the Builder. This brought much joy to Laura, as now she had finally won. Alani accepted this and decided to go back to Pupununu with a night warrant. Darling, who was now free from ruling ashore, her and her mother went back to planet Androsica, along with the Wilsons, to live in peace. And the subpoena went to their galaxy, and Duval and the Federation Flower went to Androsican Galaxy as well. With this, the Androsican Empire was dissolved, and all was finished. Elsewhere, in the client space at Allen Galaxies, they were prepping to advance dimensions to aid the Empire, and shocking news reached the ears of Jotel, Osifia, and Hedrin. The Androsican Empire had succumbed and had fallen to the Builder, and now Hikari had won the war. Hedrin was stunned. He couldn't believe it. His worst fears had come to pass, and the Sphere's words went through his head. But if Androsica were lost, it would be up to the clans to succeed them. Hydra knew that he needed time to rebuild his forces anew and plan new strategies to one day avenge Androsica and be a worthy successor of it. But not everyone was so happy about this arrangement, however. Paula, who was furious at how easily those, even though a flawed name, were so easily swayed to surrender to a Builderon and even laugh and joke with them. There's so many of our comrades that died. So she took remaining Chaldean troops that would join her and abandoned Royuki, who had also surrendered and joined the enemy. And she went to space looking for refuge and somewhere to go. And as for Horatio, Mashi, and Marvin, Horatio and Mashi became close and were very to being a couple. And the three of them returned back to the galaxy of the Jedi to live their lives anew. And with this, the war of bitter rivals was finally over. At long last, Hikari, the Recursian, had triumphed over the universe. And now, finally, the Builderon ruled it all.